Hi there, welcome back to Jennie Designs with Paper. I am Jennie and this is my channel, and I hope you had a wonderful holiday. I know I was MIA for a while. I needed to just be present. I just wanted to hop on and say, first of all, thank you. Thank you for everybody who has subscribed to my channel. Thank you to everybody who likes my videos. I'm grateful for everybody who leaves me a comment. I love comments. I love responding to comments. I try to do it as quick as I can. Sometimes it takes me a minute. Thank you though. Thank you for sharing my videos. Thank you for watching my videos. I am been so appreciative of how my channel has grown this past year. And that is because you watch my videos and I'm grateful for that. The other reason I wanted to come on camera today is to talk about my channel. So I'm still going to be doing crime and coloring on Mondays. I will continue to find older crimes that happened or crimes that have happened a while ago, right? Like Mondays was 1885, and talk about those crimes and how they might be different if they happen today. And sometimes my favorites are the unsolved or the ones that where they pin it on somebody and you're like, yeah, I don't think, yeah. If you've been there, you know my opinions. So I will continue to do crime and coloring on Monday. I will continue to have mixed media videos on Fridays, most Fridays. I will keep doing mission inspiration. I'm a little bit behind. I'm a little behind. I'm going to play catch up and continue to do mission inspiration. Mission inspiration is sponsored, created, and owned by Mike Deacon over at Mike Deacon Art. Check out his channel. He's wonderful. I love watching his videos. My card videos in the middle of the week on Wednesdays usually. I have a new plan. And this is mostly for me and my benefit and for the use of my stamps. So this wall back here, these are my stamps. These are all of my stamp companies. I forget to use the ones that I bought that I love. And I've been thinking about that and talking about that a lot the last year. So what I did was I made a spreadsheet. I am not a spreadsheet fan. That's not true. I like a good spreadsheet. I just don't like the complicated ones. But I made a spreadsheet, and in one column it has all of the stamp companies that I own stamps and or dies from. And there's 47 stamp companies. My dies are in a cart over here, but back here, 47 stamp companies. That's amazing, y'all. So I have one column with stamp companies, one column with card techniques, one column with how to choose a color palette, one column with a theme, birthdays, anniversaries, misuse, sympathy, weddings, all the themes, and then a column with extras, sequins, enamel dots, wax melts. I have some wax melts over here. Probably can't see them. I have some wax melts over here that I love to play with, but I don't always remember that I have them there. And ribbon. I have a whole thing of ribbon over here. I've got a whole drawer full of twine down here that I also forget to use. So here's my plan. I am going to use a random number generator, and I'm going to choose one number off each of those columns to make my card. And hopefully, fingers crossed, all of those things come together. One of the card techniques I have is hot foiling. Well, if the stamp company the random number picks I don't have a hot foil plate for that, I'll have to either pick a new company or pick a new technique. That's just kind of how it's going to have to be. If the stamp company I have I don't have a stamp for like love or anniversary, I'll have to figure something else out. So that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully it will help me use all of this product I have back here. And remember why I bought these and why I still have them. Like some of these are really old Stampin' Up sets. And I've kept them because they're useful to me. I liked them when I bought them, but I still see use in them now. So I'm going to hopefully be able to use all of these stamp sets and maybe even some of my old punches over there, my ribbon and my twine. Like I'm doing this like you can see what I'm doing. But I'm hoping that will just help me also when I'm feeling a little bit less than creative. I won't have to think about the theme, the plan. I will just be random number, tell me what to do. And hopefully that will work. We'll see how well that goes this year, but that is my plan. And today's card is the first card that I chose from using the random number generator. I just Googled it, random number generator, popped in all of the parameters, you know, 1 to 47, 1 to 15, whatever, and opted to do what it told me to do. So check out this card. Leave me a comment below. Tell me a card technique that you haven't seen in a while or that you love, and I will make sure to add it to my spreadsheet. Also, if you have a way that you use to determine your color palette, tell me. I'll throw that on there as well. Anything that you want to see, I am willing to try if I have the resources and abilities and the knowledge to do it. So anyway, get comfy and let's get crafty. Okay then, so our random number generator chose Avery Elle as my stamp set. And I'm using this Viking stamp and its coordinating dies. It says in the beard of the Viking, I've taken a Viking to you. I will be Copic coloring on some Neenah Classic Crust 80-pound cardstock. The technique was a card sketch. So here is a sketch I've chosen, and I will link that down below. And the color palette was a color challenge. So I've got 2 challenges in this card. It also chose for the theme the most current holiday, or the closest holiday, and that's Valentine's Day, which is why I chose this particular stamp set. And there you can see the Copic colors I chose to go along with our color challenge. I will be using the coordinating dies. I will not stamp the hearts until after I have them all die cut, because I have not cut apart those little heart dies. I didn't want them to get lost. So I am inking this up with Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. I will ink it 2 times just because I need to get a new ink. I need to get a refill. And then I will go ahead and begin my coloring. So using a pink and green and gold color challenge or color palette was a little bit difficult when coloring a Viking. But let's face it, I am all about all of the greens. I love all of the greens, and I was going to make that work. I was 100% going to make that work. So the colors that I chose, the Copic color combinations I chose, will be listed down below or over on the coordinating blog post. I may just link the blog post. So if you want to see what colors I've chosen, check that out. So I'm coloring the little bit of skin you can have with some ease, like the 0001, 0204. There's not a lot to see there. I am trying to give him some nice rosy cheeks, though. Not a lot to see. For his beard, I use the warm grays, the W's, and I'm using that flicking motion. So Copic coloring to get hair and grass and to show texture. It's all about the flicking. And for me, I flick easier from bottom to top. So I tend to flip the object I'm coloring in all the directions. Like right now I'm doing his mustache, so I turned the image sideways so I can do his mustache. I started accidentally with not the darkest color. So I went back to my darkest color and added in those darker hairs. And it's mostly in the places where you would see shadow, like right under the mustache or at the pointy part of his beard, where the beard starts coming together, and then in the mustache right at the nose. And then I went back in with the lightest, and I'm using 4 color combinations in my color combinations today, 4 marker combinations. So I'm finding, this was interesting because I only have a couple of Avery Elle stamp sets that are not sentiments, okay, that were image stamp sets. But then I only had one that I could make work for Valentine's Day, and it was this Viking. So we're going to go ahead and add the gold in, and we're using, again, this is one of many gold combinations for his little Viking helmet. We're going to make it work. We're going to use the color combination, and we're going to use the stamp set, that the random generator. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun having this random generator tell me what I was going to create today. Whether it's coloring or not just traditional stamping, it's going to be fun. So I use the gold in his Viking helmet. I'm also going to use the gold with the twine. So we'll have that gold in there, and for the sentiment. For the greens, so for green, I added the greens into his coat and pants. So his clothes are green, which, I mean, I wear green at least every other day. That's probably true. I don't intentionally wear green that often, but it was not a stretch for me to have this Viking wearing a green clothing. Let's just leave it at that. And for his boots, I went back in with those warm grays because I think they're mostly going to be covered up. So it was not really going to be a huge issue as to what color they were. I didn't need to introduce another color. I am just adding a little bit more definition of the shadows with that darkest green. And like I said, the boots are just going to be that same warm gray that I used for his beard. So there we go. This little Viking, I actually originally bought it to make a birthday card for my brother because he is a Vikings fan. And I just masked off the words in the beard so that I didn't stamp that part in there. But that's how come I have a Viking card. Okay, we're going to go ahead and use the coordinating dies. And I'm so out of practice, I forgot to zoom back out. So there's a little bit of off-camera things happening in the background here, mostly because I forgot to zoom back out. I am going to use a little bit of washi tape to hold my Viking in place. And then I'm going to put the little heart dies. And I stamped them off screen again because I forgot to zoom back out so you can see. And now I'm just using my little pokey tool and my Copic markers. This is a little bit of the introduction to the pink. So we haven't done pink for this Viking except for the rosy cheeks he's got. So we had to introduce the pink somewhere. So that is going to be in these hearts. And I think I stamped a couple of them on the wrong die cut, but it's okay. So I have a white card base. This is a US A2 size card. That means it is 4 1/4 inches wide by 5 1/2 inches tall. This is a side folding card because it is a pre-cut card base that I have in my stash. And I have a pink cardstock panel that I'm going to trim down to 4 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches tall. I don't know what brand or color of cardstock this is because once it's been cut, it's no longer labeled. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to look back at our card sketch here. And there's a little bit of stuff like texture or distressing kind of thing in the background. So I could have just put all of those hearts that are in the stamp set on my stamp block and stamped them around. But they're not solid image stamps. They're open image stamps. So I found this old Stampin' Up! Set that has this combination of hearts. It's just a line of hearts. It's supposed to look like it's raining hearts or something. So I'm just adding a whole bunch of these stamps onto the background of my card. I think in this sketch it looked like dots, but also in the sketch there was that little tape or ribbon piece that came in off of the right-hand side. I'm using pink washi tape for that. Again, something I have in my stash that I could have used cardstock. I could have even just colored the shadow in pink to make it work, or in grays, whatever. But I am using washi tape because I have it, and why not? And I can make it have that pointed angle that was in the card sketch. Now, card sketches are as exact or as loosely interpreted as you want them to be. This one is pretty close. I mean, the images are different, but it's pretty close. I'm going to put a little piece of Scotch tape over that washi tape because washi tape is not permanent. It's not going to stay. For some more gold, I have this gold twine. This is the last piece of this that was on the spool in my stash. I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow with it. So I'm going to, I measured out, eyeball measured it. Let's be real. I eyeball measured it. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Scotch tape on the back of the card just to keep the twine in place while I am trying to tie a bow. Because let's face it, when you're trying to tie a bow, you need like 4 hands, and I only have 2. So what I'm going to do is start the knot, grab my reverse clamp tweezers, and hold that part down, and then tie the second knot. Also, this is really kind of slippery twine, so it's not very easy to hold on to. And it's been a minute. It has been a minute since I tied a bow on the front of a card. I mean, talk about old school technique. It has been a minute. So I'm going to fiddle with the bow just a little bit and trim off the tail so that they're even. And I don't have any glue dots in my stash, which that seems to be a problem I need to fix right away. So I put a little dot of glossy accents on there, and I'm going to hold it down. And then I put my tweezers on it again. And then eventually I'm even going to put a clear block on it for a minute. So I'm going to put our Viking on top of this red kind of arrow thing. And I decided because of the twine, he needs to be popped up with foam tape.
So I have that Altenew big roll of foam tape that I've put a bunch of little pieces all over the back of the Viking. And I'm just going to settle him here. I almost put him down at the bottom of that little washi tape arrow, but then I remembered that in the sketch, the focal image was kind of in the middle of it and kind of hung off one side. So the next part is to add these stamped hearts, stamped and die cut hearts to the background because it's Valentine's Day and because they were part of the stamp set and it's a little stamp set. So I should use all the pieces, right? That's what I told myself. I should use all of the stamps in this stamp set because it's small, but also because of the hearts. So once I had the hearts on there, I found a piece of scrap paper and I had to go back again to my stash. And this is an old Stampin' Up. It's Teeny Tiny Wishes. Because all of the Avery Elle stamp sets I have, none of them had a Valentine Day sentiment or even an I love you sentiment, which I should probably correct that too. Yeah. So I stamped Happy Valentine's Day with this old wooden stamp set or stamp. And I punched it out. This was a punch that Stampin' Up! Had that went with that. It was intentionally created to go with that stamp set. And then there's this layering punch that was intended to go with that first punch. So it makes kind of a label, for lack of a better word, for the sentiment, especially when your sentiment is tiny. But in our card sketch, we also had a part of our focal image that kind of slightly hung off the right-hand side just a little bit. I think it was a leaf of the flower. So I am going to use a little more foam tape and have our sentiment hang off the right-hand edge just a little bit. Placing the sentiment was, my original plan was to put it under his feet. But that was kind of where the twine was, and so it was a little bit weird with the foam tape. So I kind of had to put it across his feet, and then I had to remove that one piece of foam tape and just add glue to it because it was going to go over his boots. Where in my brain, when I was adding the foam tape to the sentiment, I was going to put it up against the bottom of his boot. But anyway, so to put this card panel on the card, we're also going to use more foam tape because of that twine. If I used regular adhesive, there would be a bump. But if I use foam tape, it will just go right over the twine, no problem. If your twine or ribbon is really thick, you can actually put the foam tape to the twine or ribbon and not go over it, and it will not create extra dimension. And then we're going to go ahead and center it onto our card panel. I should have put a little bit of liquid glue on that foam tape, so I had a little bit of give, like a minute to move things around. I went back to his eyes, had gotten a little bit dulled out, so I added some black gel pen to his eyes, and while that was drying, I went over his Viking helmet with a clear Wink of Stella pen, because gold should be shiny and glitter is for everyone. And then I added a little bit of white to his eyes with a gel pen, and that's it. So here's the first card we made. Thank you, random generator. I hope you enjoyed the video. I have a couple other videos here I think you will like as well. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you did. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Give me a comment down below, and I hope you have a really fabulous day.